So you want to up your sexy selfie game? I've got you. My name is Alicia. I'm a boudoir photographer, and I'm going to walk you through some ways to DIY your own boudoir photos. And we're talking about upping our game from like the sexy little pictures we take on our phone quickly in the bathroom. I think we can do even better. So here's what I would recommend before we even start posing and moving if you want to take your own boudoir photos. First, we want to think about light. In my studio, you can see I have a lot of natural light, but it's only coming from one direction, which means the photos that I take tend to be pretty moody, pretty high contrast, because this side is lit and this side is dark. So if you want a very powerful, sexy, moody, vampy type of vibe, that's what you should think about. Let's put the light on one side so we have shadow on the other. If you want something a little more dreamy and airy, then you want to face totally towards your light. Then there's not as much shadow and you're being fully kind of bathed in light. Now, you don't have to use natural light either. And I know you guys don't have probably a ton of actual, camera lights at your house, which makes sense, but you probably have a lamp or something like that. And you can do the exact same thing with lamps that you have in your home. Think about where that light is hitting you. And if you want a lot of contrast, put it all on one side. If you want less contrast, but something a little more dreamy and airy, then you can be more kind of bathed in light by putting the lights in front of you. So that's something to think about. Next, you want to think about what you want to wear. And of course, the most important thing is that you're wearing something you're comfortable in. But textures play a big role in the end product. So I would look for something that's got some texture like lace or beading or sequins or something like that. But honestly, even something like a crop top and a pair of your favorite underwear, really cute, okay? So let's move into posing now and what we want to think about when we start to actually move our bodies. I'm guessing everybody watching this has a bed. So that's what we're going to focus on today. When you are posing, you want to keep in mind that the thing closest to your camera is what's going to appear the largest. So if you have your phone set up and you do a little lean in towards the camera, the main focus and the thing that appears the largest would be my face and my chest. So most of the time we want to push the things that we want to highlight towards the camera. Another thing that we want to keep in mind, can we add variety by creating asymmetry in our photos? So this is nice, but this is more interesting, right? This is nice, but this is more interesting. When we start to create asymmetry with our hands and where those are going, we just get a little more variety in our shots. So movement can be really helpful. Maybe keeping one hand above the other and then switching. That's a really helpful little tip for you. Always move your hands. Give them a job to do. Otherwise, we get like T-Rex arms and we don't know what to do with them. So give your hands a job. They can grab onto something. They can pull on something. But those are just some quick and easy things I want you to keep in mind when you actually start posing, okay? So we're keeping parts of our body that we want to highlight pushed towards the camera. We're rocking with the asymmetry, right? And we want to give our hands a job to do. Now, if there are parts of your body that you don't totally love, it's okay to find ways to highlight the things that we do and maybe hide the things that we don't. I would encourage you to take a couple photos that do highlight the things that you don't love as much, just so you can see it, so that you understand the sky is not going to fall if those things are highlighted. But it's okay to want to focus on the things that you do like as well. So for a lot of my clients, for example, the tummy is not a favorite spot for a lot of my clients, and that's okay. Yeah, we're going to take some photos that show off the tummy, but sometimes we can do things where the tummy is not on display as much. And one of those is just by grabbing onto something. We're going to take our blanket. We're going to put a little bit of tension on that blanket. We're going to push our chest forward towards the camera like we already talked about. And then we're going to look towards our light. And we should get all of this nice shadow over here. Our hands have a job to do. We look really powerful because we're putting tension on that blanket. We're highlighting the things that we like, and we are maybe learning to be a little bit more neutral about the things that we don't. And if you're like, okay, this makes me feel really good, and now I am ready to show off the things that I'm still working on liking, we can drop the blanket and bring our hands more into a pose on our thighs, or again, we can grab onto our bodysuit or underwear and pull up, and then, tummy is out, but nothing bad is going to happen. So that's what I would do. I would start by focusing on the things that we like and hiding what we don't, and working towards showing things that maybe we don't feel as comfortable with. We can build towards that. My next tip for you would be to think about where you have placed your camera. So for example, I love booty shots, and let's talk about how the camera can impact the way our booty looks. If I turn around towards the camera and the camera comes in and is shooting from above, you don't really see all of the curve that I got going on. Now, I don't have a whole lot going on to begin with, but we're trying to show off what I do have. And from above, you don't really see a whole lot. But as we start to move the camera down, if you point the camera up towards my booty and I pull up maybe on some underwear that I'm wearing, you get to see all of the full booty that's going on. And having like a wedgie emphasizes that even more. So you want your camera for certain shots to kind of be a low if we're trying to show off the fullness of something that we've got going on. If you want something that's a little more like doe-eyed, very sensual, very flirty, then you might want to shoot from above, because then I have to kind of look up towards the camera. And this is a lot more like feminine and soft and flirty and, that kind of vibe. If you shoot from below, it's a little more power. Now I'm going to be looking down at the camera. My chin's going to come up. I feel a little bit more like a baddie when I'm looking down. And then straight on, that tends to be just your go-to portrait kind of shot where the camera is lined up with your eyes. So those are some things to keep in mind as well. Where do you want the camera? Above, below, or straight on? Speaking of cameras, instead of running back and forth between your phone and wherever you're shooting, just set your phone to be on record mode. It is a lot easier to go back through what you just shot and screenshot instead of running back and forth and trying to do the whole selfie thing with the timer and all of that. Now, the quality of a screenshot is going to be a little, less good than an actual photo on your camera, but especially when you're starting out and you haven't really quite figured out how you want to move and groove and all of that, I think doing movement poses and just feeling what comes kind of naturally and what feels good to you while recording is so much easier than hitting the 10-second timer, running to the bed, going back and hitting the timer, running back to your bed. Oh my gosh, you're going to be so tired after like 3 minutes. You're going to be exhausted, and then this will not be a very fun or sensual experience anymore. And I want to make sure that you're getting as many sensual, sexy selfies as you possibly can. So there's my little bonus tip. Definitely use the record video feature on your phone instead of the self timer. Hopefully those tips have got you thinking about what you might want to do. Put on some music that makes you feel like a total baddie, that makes you feel really good, really confident, really pumped up. Wear something that makes you feel really good or beautiful or sexy or, insert whatever adjective you want. Play around with movement. Think of asymmetry. Think of where we want the camera placed and the vibe that gives off. Do we want power? Do we want softness? And then consider your lighting and how you want to use that. Where are you going to place the lamps in your home? Are you going to shoot by a window? Do we want high contrast? Do we want dreamy? I think all of these things are great ways to elevate your sexy selfies and kind of create your own DIY photo shoot at home. And if you ever want the full experience, I would love to plan a session for you. If you want some more DIY photo shoot tips though, check out my podcast episode where I go into even more detail. It's worth a listen. Thanks again for joining me, and I hope you'll come back to the Buxom Boudoir studio, and we will talk again soon. Bye.